Smart 24, driving business.
Welcome to Financial Markets, and this morning we have quite a number of insights from the East African financial markets. We've seen a SPA coming in from the Nairobi Securities Exchange regarding a number of cross-listed equities. So we have more on that, and financial news coming in from the financial environment back in Nairobi and in Kampala as well. I'm your host, Victor Chiberu, to bring you more insights on how these markets are responding to the various conditions. But as is tradition, we want to start with the Uganda Securities Exchange. And for those that are not aware of what the Uganda Securities Exchange is and what they do, particularly in the country, the Uganda Securities Exchange is actually Uganda's stock exchange, and it was incorporated in 1997 as a company limited by guarantee without a share capital. So it's the principal stock of Uganda, and it was established as a result of the government's policy of transforming the country's economy from a public to that of a private sector basis. So the Uganda Securities Exchange offers an organized market where buyers and sellers of securities meet dealers or brokers who represent them in the process of acquiring or selling securities, and we're looking at equity shares as well as bonds. But as an alternative source of investment capital for small and large enterprises, the Uganda Securities Exchange represents a link between companies and capital needs and the general public, with savings to invest, allowing these investors to become part owners of the company. So in October 2003, the Uganda Securities Exchange launched the All Share Index, which is a market-weighted average index comprising of all listed stocks on the bourse. So we're looking at the back dates, and it actually started with a base value of 100, and that was as of December 31st of 2000. So in addition, the All Share Index, in addition to the All Share Index, the USE also publishes the Local Company Index, which tracks the performance of domestic equities on the exchange. So back in July 2015, the Uganda Securities Exchange actually implemented an automated trading system, and it is a computerized based trading application set up to automatically buy and sell securities. So this, along with a new central securities depository system, improved liquidity and trade efficiency by reducing the settlement time from 5 to 3 years. But just looking into the companies listed, we're looking at a number of listed equities, and we have cross-listed entities as well as local companies. But on the list, we're looking at Airtel Uganda, the British American Tobacco, we're looking at Bank of Baroda, Centum Investments, DFCU, East African Breweries, Equity Bank, Jubilee Holdings, Kenya Airways, KCB Group, MTN Uganda, National Insurance Corporation, Nation Media Group, New Vision Limited, Quality Chemical Industries, which was recently known as Cipla Quality Chemicals, and Stanbic Bank Uganda, Uchumi, which is no longer listed on the equity as of now, but is still listed on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, and we have Uganda Clays as well as Umeme. But looking back to the most recent trading session, at the end of yesterday's trading session, we closed with a total of 59,370 shares, and this was all corresponding to a market value of about 11,571,900 Ugandan shillings. But compared with the previous trading session, the total data is actually showing 91% decline in volume, but 121% improvement in turnover. All this is actually leaving our market capitalization at 19.9 trillion Ugandan shillings. And let's not forget, last week the Uganda Securities Exchange was actually within the 20s, and it has the market capitalization has dropped by a couple of points. But let's see how it will go down in today's trading session as well as tomorrow's trading session. But in aggregate, we're looking at 2 Uganda Securities Exchange listed equities participating in the trade, and we ended with 6 gainers as well as 2 losers. Jubilee Holdings led the gainers with a 5.66% share price appreciation, and it was closing at 5,149.33 Ugandan shillings per share. It was followed by East African Breweries that also went up by 3.71%. Nation Media Group also went up by 1.55%, and Centum Investments also went up by 0.35%. On the losing side, we were looking at Stanbic Bank coming in as the loser with a share price decrease of 4.04%. Equity Bank also went down by 0.59%. And looking at the entities in terms of highest recorded trading volume, MTN came in first with 54,270 and Umeme with 5,100 respectively. But shifting our focus onto the market indices, we're looking at the benchmark, the all-share index, and it plummeted 27.83, and that was about a 2.64% decline, points to close at 1,027.54. Now this was representing a 1-week loss of 2.62%, as well as a 4-week loss of 5.6%. But we're looking at an overall year-to-date gain of 17.77%. This is quite a movement from the all-share index. And looking onto the local company index, we were looking at a decrease of 2.03%, closing at about 259.13 points. Now this was making a 1-week loss of 1.75%, as well as a 4-week loss of 2.07%, and a year-to-date loss of 4.68%. Now that is the performance coming in from the Uganda Securities Exchange, and we had to see a lot to go on, a lot happening on the exchange as of today. The market is already open, and trading has already started taking place. So just in case you have been looking at an equity and you're wondering how you to attain shares, or you want to sell some shares that you already have, the market is already open and brokers are ready to give you that assistance. But looking onto our neighbors, the Nairobi Securities Exchange, we also want to understand how the cross-listed entities on both markets performed as of yesterday. But just for context, the Nairobi Securities Exchange, unlike the Uganda Securities Exchange, was actually established in 1954, and it was known as the Nairobi Stock Exchange, which is the leading stock exchange in East Africa, offering world-class trading facilities for both its local and foreign investors looking to gain exposure to the country's rising economy. Now the bourse is based on Nairobi, and this act is based in Nairobi, which is the capital of Kenya, and it is one of the fastest growing economies in the sub-Saharan Africa. But the NSE actually operates under the jurisdiction of the Capital Markets Authority of Kenya, and it is governed by an 11-member board of directors. And looking back in 2014, consequent to its successful IPO to raise about 627 million Kenyan shillings, the NSE actually demutualized and became listed on the main board of its own exchange. But in 2008, in order to provide investors with a comprehensive measure of the performance of the market, the NSE launched their all-share index, and it is the Nairobi All Share Index is a market capitalization weighted index with a base value that was at 100 as of January 2008, comprising of all listed securities effectively under the benchmark index for the Kenyan stock market. But in 2011, together with the FTSE International and the Nairobi Securities Exchange, they introduced the 15 and the 25 indices, which are designed for the creation of index tracking funds and derivative products and as performance benchmarks while ensuring their investability. The 25 share index also measures the top 5 companies. But looking onto the numbers, we have quite a number of companies listed on the Nairobi Stock Exchange, and we're seeing performance from some as well as others sticking at one share price since the start of the week. But looking back to yesterday's trading session, we closed with a total of 11,198,800 traded shares in about 1,023 deals. This was corresponding to a market value of 211,683,328 million Kenyan shillings. Now, this was what was traded in the previous trading session, and compared with our data from 1st July, it is showing an 83% improvement in volume, as well as 181% improvement in turnover, but we're looking at a 1% decline in deals. The current market capitalization of the Nairobi Securities Exchange is 1.71 trillion Kenyan shillings. In aggregate, we're looking at 47 Nairobi Securities Exchange listed equities participating in the trading, and we ended with 23 gainers as well as 15 losers. TransCentury led the gainers with a 10% share price appreciation, closing at 0.44 Kenyan shillings per share, and it was followed by Samir Africa that went up by 9.79%. East African Portland Cement also went up by 7.91%, and East African Cables also went up by 6.67%. On the losing side, BK Group came out last with an end of day price depreciation of 4.23%, closing at 34 Kenyan shillings per share. It was followed by CIC Insurance Group, which by the way was the top gainer in yesterday's trading session, that went down by 2.22%, and Britam Holdings also went down by 1.75%, as well as Umeme also coming down by 1.63%. Safaricom led the gain, with the highest recorded volume of traded shares, which was at 5.08 million, and that was the traded shares in yesterday's trading session. But we want to understand Safaricom. What does Safaricom do in East Africa? Is it a cross-listed equity, and why is it always within the category of the highest recorded trading volumes? But for those that are wondering, Safaricom is actually a PLC in Kenya, and it deals with Kenyan telecommunications as well as engaging in provision of SMS, voice, data, internet, and M-Pesa services. The company also offers a range of services of a range of devices such as mobile handsets, mobile broadband modems. We're looking at routers, tablets, notebooks, and laptop computers. So with a range of pricing plans on prepaid and postpaid options, Safaricom actually offers a variety of messaging services bundled with SMS and or data services, which includes video messaging and SMS based promotions. But the company offers high-speed data connectivity for access to email, internet, and corporate connectivity through fixed and mobile broadband. So Safaricom distributes its products and services through a dealership network of approximately 2,700 outlets. But Safaricom is listed on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, and and has been so since 9th June of 2008, and it is traded on the Nairobi Securities Exchange under the ticker symbol SCOM. But more information on the International Securities Identification Number can be found on the Nairobi Securities Exchange website for those interested in this particular stock. But it is currently the most valuable stock on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, and it boasts a market capitalization of 697 billion Kenyan shillings, which is about 40.7% of the entire Nairobi Securities Exchange equity market. But looking into the shares outstanding, it stands at 40.1 billion, and like we mentioned earlier, the market capitalization is at 697 billion Kenyan shillings. As of yesterday, they closed with 17.40 as their share price, and looking into the data from the previous trading session, it actually recorded a 0.3% drop from their previous closing price of 17.45 Kenyan shillings. Safaricom began the year with a share price of 13.90 Kenyan shillings and has since gained 25.2% on that price valuation. This is ranking it fourth on the Nairobi Securities Exchange in terms of year-to-date performance. Safaricom is actually the most traded stock on the Nairobi Securities Exchange and has been so over the past 3 months. It has traded a total volume of 376 million shares in about 13,289 deals, all valued at about 6.64 billion Kenyan shillings over that period. This is leaving us with an average of 5.96 million traded shares per session, a volume high of 30.9 million, and this was actually achieved on May 28th, and we're looking at a low of 241,300 on June 14th of the very same period. We're yet to see a lot coming in from Safaricom's performance, and Safaricom is one of those stocks that don't really disappoint, so it is worth looking into. These are stocks you look at and you'd actually wish they were cross-listed. So just in case that is an option that is being discussed behind the walls of Safaricom, we are looking forward to seeing a provision of Safaricom on the Uganda Securities Exchange. But looking into other equities that came in with a high trading volume, we're looking at KCB Group that had 1.32 million, Kenya Reinsurance Corporation that also had 1.27 million, and Cooperative Bank of Kenya with 1.11 million. But regarding the performance of the market indices, we're looking at the benchmark that pared 0.24, coming down by 0.22%, points to close at 109.25. This is representing a 1-week loss of 2.25%, a 4-week loss of 3.48%, but an overall year-to-date gain of 18.61%. Other remarkable indices also performed, and we're looking at the 10-share index coming down by 0.3%, leaving a 1-week loss of 1.75%, but an overall year-to-date gain of 22.59%. The 20-share index also went down by 0.38%, leaving a 1-week loss of 3.67%, as well as a year-to-date gain of 9.86%. The 25-share index went down by 0.37%, and leaving a 1-week loss of 1.43%, but on the other hand, leaving a year-to-date gain of 19.62%. Now, that is the performance as of yesterday's trading sessions in terms regarding the Uganda Securities Exchange and the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Let's not forget the markets are already open, and we're yet to see a lot happening, if it's not even happening already as we speak. So by the end of today's trading session, we will have more information coming in from these markets and a properly arranged analysis for you to understand how these markets are performing. We'll be right back after a short break with more financial news within the East African financial environment and how this news is directly affecting the performance of these equities.
Smart 24, driving business.
Cooking oil like no other makes the meal so sweet and scrumptious. The taste of Uganda, yeah, the taste of Uganda, the taste of Uganda.
Oh, you see Zizi. Hey, what is Zizinga? Zizinga! Oh, what? This blood. Zizinga. Lydia went invisible wakati chechi ndako. I need the blood. Hey, Euros for everyone on Go TV. Euros for everyone. Naira. Yeah, people at home watching Euros on Go TV. Euros for everyone. Yeah.
Euro 2024 is for everyone on GoTV. All the 51 games of Europe's biggest tournament live on your TV and on GoTV stream.